Welcome to Mystic Dragonfly Garden. Here we are this last warm weekend in November before it gets below 32 degrees. So this is our last chance to dig up some plants, save some plants, pull things before they become mush. It's a busy, busy weekend. Before we start our weekend chores in the garden, let me take you along on a little garden tour to show you what is blooming right now. Look at this gorgeous bloom. The color on this is just absolutely stunning. This is the Maurice Utrillo Painter's Palette Rose. Absolutely stunning. Oh, and look, I spy some pink camellias. I will have to pop the name up on the screen because I do not quite remember the name. Look at all of these buds. This tree is going to be gorgeous this year. Here are some white mums. I ordered these from Crown Mums. These are really, really pretty. I'll pop the name up on the screen. Here are some, I think these are Zembla Lime mums. Isn't that mum just a lot of fun? And then here we have your typical box store mum. It's a little faded right now, but she's been really pretty too. Here we have an AC Poke Dahlia. I really should take these blooms and cut them and make a flower arrangement because I'm going to lose them all in just a day or two, and they would be really pretty inside in a vase. Aren't these two variety of mums a lot of fun? This lime and white, and then this dark purple maroon color. So pretty. There's an apricot drift rose making one last appearance before the frost. Well, look at the color on this Hawaiian elephant ear. Here is a gold and silver chrysanthemum. It's got this variegated foliage and then these tiny little yellow flowers. Look at that variegated foliage. Some white drift roses making their last appearance for this season. Here we have this variegated lantana. I believe this is Lantana Samantha. And this is in a pot. It is a beast. But I'll cut this back and bring this in before the frost comes. Here we have the Perfecto Mundo Double Pink Azalea. Looking so pretty right now. Here we have the Saint Tropez Yellow Rose on this standard form that gave us a few more blooms right here before the frost. Now there's a fun surprise. Look at this bloom on this tractor seat plant. Who knew that bloomed like that? How fun. There's some Queen Lime zinnias. Isn't that really pretty? And take a look at this clematis. Making another round of blooms. And here we have Yuletide Camellia. Isn't she a happy plant right now? This peach Quincy wants to be an overachiever. How pretty. Here's some more mums from Crown Mums. This is Zembla Brazil. Look at what a gorgeous red mum that is. What a funky, fun shape. This one, I believe, is Crimson Tide. Absolutely gorgeous. Here's another fun yellow one. It just rained last night, so they might be a little waterlogged. I will have to research this one because some of my tags are not what these blooms turned out to be. So hopefully I'll find the name of this one and pop it up on the screen. Well, that was a fun little garden tour. Now for the projects of the day. We're going to be digging up some plants that I know are annuals but will overwinter in the garage, and cutting back the elephant ears. I will leave some in the ground. I've tried for a couple of years to let them overwinter, and I was only successful with one, and that was my coffee cups. But I'm going to dig some of them up, so I'm sure to have something to replant for next year in case what I leave in the ground does not come back. So the verbena is hardy to zone 8, so I know that will live in my garage. So I'm going to cut that back and dig it up and repot it and let it live in the garage. Hopefully it'll overwinter well. And then I'm probably going to take some cuttings of these petunias and see if I can't root those and end up with some plants for next year as well. Just trying something new, giving that a shot this year. Now this Rudbeckia Prairie Sun was a pleasant surprise that self-seeded from some that I had planted. I have tried so hard to overwinter this to get it to come back as a perennial, and anywhere that I have wanted to plant it, it has not returned. But I'm going to leave this alone here in the rocks and collect some of these seeds. I have already sprinkled some seeds along the front right here. Maybe those will be volunteers next year, but that is one of the projects for the day, is collecting the seeds off of some of my plants like the zinnias and some others that are perennials, but just to have some more seeds to spread around. That is another project of the day. These coleus plants and these planter boxes are definitely tired. I've already taken cuttings of all the coleus, so rooting the coleus is in the works. So we're going to pull all of this today, and then pulling this diamond frost euphorbia. It will overwinter in the garage, so I'm going to pot it up in some little pots, cut it back, and save it for next year. These impatiens are definitely finished for the season, so we will be pulling those today. And the hostas are definitely done. Those will be cut back as well. We have several white geraniums in pots, and I will be pulling those and storing those roots for the winter to repot next year. And then here we have this crazy pumpkin vine that has consumed my front flower bed. The gopher finally stopped eating the blooms. We ended up with one pretty good sized pumpkin, which is starting to ripen, but this is going to be one large bunch of mush if I don't get it out of here before this weekend. It's unfortunate that the gopher finally quit too late in the season, because there are a ton of little pumpkins. We could have had hundreds if that gopher hadn't been eating all the blooms all this time. Don't quite remember the variety of this colocasia, but this is just in a pot, and I'm just going to cut it back and bring the pot in for the winter. And then I've debated on what to do with these tropical hibiscus. I think I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm going to cut it back by about half and bring it into the garage and just see what happens. I've got this one here and this one over here. Rise Up Lilac has a few last blooms making an appearance before the frost. Look at the color on that orange rocket barberry. These are so much fun to have because they have such great color late in the season. Here are the black coral elephant ears. They're starting to look a little sad. There was 4 of them here. I actually dug one of them up already and potted it up. But this is a result of one plant last year that I was able to divide after it survived the garage. So it's hard to dig them up. I'm going to leave one of them in the ground just to see if it does come back. They are supposed to be perennial for me, but I tried 2 years in a row and lost them. Last year I saved it. But since I have so many, I'm going to try again. But I'm going to take care of these before they turn to mush. And then here we have the coffee cups, which actually did come back. I did dig a little plant out of the ground. It didn't come back as big and strong as it was when I first planted it, but I might go ahead and just leave this one here since it did make it 1 year. And then here are the teacups, which I planted this year. And I may just take some of these and then leave these in the ground as well, just to see if they do come back. But I'm definitely going to be cutting them down before they turn to mush. And here we have everything in the garage. This is a few weeks later that I'm recording this. I ended up with laryngitis. But here you can see my setup in the garage. Things are stacked on shelves, stacked on containers, squished in as best as can be. My workout space becomes a place for plants, and I have to move them around to exercise. They eventually find their place where I don't have to move them all the time. And then here are some flower arrangements. I just went around and got scissor happy and just started cutting anything I could, the blooms that were going to die, and then some other evergreen foliage, and made up these vases that turned out absolutely beautiful and were so much fun to make. I'm really glad I had the opportunity to enjoy this foliage and these blooms just a few more weeks inside. I don't normally make flower arrangements, but this could be really fun to make cut flower arrangements. Let me know in the comments if you like to use your flowers for cut arrangements. I think this one was probably my favorite. This was the Crimson Tide chrysanthemum. Not sure about that one. Some Firepower Nandina. And then this one was really pretty with the purple and lime green. That was a fun combination as well. So let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and we'll see which one of these arrangements everybody liked the best. This one was fun with the dahlias and the chrysanthemums. I had that one Bloomquist Genie chrysanthemum. It didn't make it into the video that I found later, but that was a really pretty pink and yellow arrangement. And for the love of dirt, get outside, enjoy what nature has to offer. Until next time.